Today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers show is brought to you by BetOnline.ag. The NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs are in full swing. If you want to place a bet on any of the playoff action, BetOnline.ag is the place to do it.
365, whatever sport, whatever time, make sure y'all go to BetOnline.ag.
And they've got some juicy NFL future prop bets that you can make. So BetOnline.ag is the place to go for your gambling needs. It's really easy to get started. Head over to the website on your phone, your mobile device, your desktop, your laptop. Just use our promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV to get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online where the game starts. All right, cue the music. It's time to start the show. Welcome to the Bleav in Steelers show on the Bleav Network. I'm your host, Mark Bergin, joined as always by my guy, two-time Super Bowl champion and 12-year veteran of the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 24, Ike Taylor. I finally feel like we're in the part of the offseason where we can catch our breath and breathe because it has been go. But we still have an absolutely loaded show for the listeners and the viewers of today's Bleav in Steelers show. How are you this evening, my man, recording on Monday night?
And this one thing I like to do. You can call me Mr. Greenlight because I like to be on the go.
Yeah, Ike, I missed you in North Carolina. I'm a little bit bitter about that, but that's okay. I know you're back in Orlando at this point, but I'm sad to have missed you in North Carolina, the state that I now call home.
Yeah, we'll catch up another time, Mark.
It was a short trip for you. On today's show, Ike, Jadeveon Clowney re-signs with the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But we are going to go top four by position group, and we're going to go individual players in the AFC North. So today we are going to talk quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, and we'll start with the quarterback position. Ike, we're going to go top four, and to no surprise, I'm going to go first. Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals is my number one quarterback in the division, coming off an appearance in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with the number one. Joe Smooth, Joe Cool, whatever you want to call him. He's just what you're looking for, especially personality-wise when it comes down to having a quarterback. He got the swag, he got the drip, he got the patience, he got the confidence. He got everything you're looking for when you want to talk about a quarterback. He can make all the throws. He really don't he led the league in getting sacked last year. So it's really nothing he can't do. Like, it really doesn't bother him. He's a good teammate. He don't throw nobody under the bus. He understood last year he didn't have a good offensive line. He said nothing about it. All he did was take the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go with Joe all day.
Since I know Joe Burrow is watching this live stream, Joe, just DM us your address and we will get you a pack of the one-of-a-kind cigars as well, just for you so you can smoke it in next year's playoffs.
I like it, Mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 25 years old. Again, a league high, sacked 51 times. And in that individual game, the playoff win against the number one seeded Titans, sacked 9 times. That's going to be approved in the 2022 season because the Bengals signed Lyle Collins and Alex Kappa in free agency. So it's clear that the Bengals are prioritizing keeping Burrow upright in his third season. I kind of liken it to what the Chiefs did last offseason in improving their offensive line to protect Patrick Mahomes.
No, I like it too as well. That's one thing the Cincinnati Bengals did. In the offseason and during the draft, they went for a need, and they needed offensive linemen. That's exactly what they got.
All right, Ike, you get the second pick, so you could take any other quarterback in the AFC North at number 2. Who you got?
If he plays, I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. We'll see.
Okay, all right, bring this, Ike, because I disagree, but let's hear the case.
Deshaun Watson was a couple of passes away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't name other than DeAndre or Fuller, Hopkins. You can't name a tight end Deshaun Watson was throwing to. You can name me 3 running backs Deshaun Watson.
I've got him in my notes, Ike. I got him in my notes, but here's who we're talking about. Here's who we're talking about.
Off the top of the head. Just
correct.
this what you can say. If Deshaun Watson was on the New England Patriots, if Deshaun Watson was on the Kansas City Chiefs, if Deshaun Watson was on the Green Bay Packers, if Deshaun Watson was on the Tampa Bay Bucks, we all know what time it is. So the guy you're about to name, I'm talking about as a complete quarterback. If you can't say if he was on, then that's how I look at it. Now look at Deshaun Watson. Never had a 1-2 combo like this as a running game. Never had an offensive line like this in the running game. Never really had, other than DeAndre Hopkins at the receiver position, complete receiver position that like he do in Cleveland. Never had a defense like he had in Houston, like he about to have at Cleveland. So when I look at Deshaun Watson and what he brings to the table, it's the same thing we was talking about when we came to Mitchell Trubisky for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mitch Trubisky never had the luxury that he will have now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deshaun Watson never had the luxury he will have now as a Cleveland Brown.
Yes, you mentioned DeAndre Hopkins. Will Fuller when healthy? And that's kind of an oxymoron. That's no knock on Fuller, but go check the stats there. He hasn't been able to consistently play in a 16 or 17 game season. Now, you mentioned the running backs. David Johnson, who was the team's leading rusher in 2020, is a free agent, so he's not even on a team. Then you had Carlos Hyde in 2019, had more than 1,000 yards rushing, and then Lamar Miller in 2017 and 2018, Ike. So I'm with you there in terms of the skill position players around Watson in Houston when he won a playoff game and nearly beat the Chiefs when the Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl. Remember, they had that 24-0 lead against Kansas City, and Kansas City came roaring back because Houston wanted to play. They wanted to match Patrick Mahomes. Not a very good idea. Now, I'm going to say this about Watson. A, when is he going to be allowed to play, which we still don't know. But then B, once he is allowed to return to the playing field, missing a full NFL season, like I wonder if there's going to be any rust there to where you can't replicate NFL game speed, Ike. So that's where I pause there, and we can transition into the conversation about Lamar Jackson if you'd like, but you're shaking your head here. I'll give you the chance to rebut, and we'll go on to Jackson, Ike. I'm gonna give you the floor here. I'm being a gentleman about this right now.
There's no need for Deshaun Watson to be the Houston Deshaun Watson when he comes back ASAP, because the luxury you have around him. Now, if Deshaun Watson would have came back to Houston, Deshaun Watson, I would understand what you would have been saying. Let's see what this year off, what Deshaun Watson do. But the fact Deshaun Watson don't need to be the Houston Deshaun Watson until he gets in a groove says a lot about Deshaun Watson. And that's what I'm talking about, the luxury that he have around him. He has a complete good team, Mark.
Yeah, and he does have Amari Cooper coming over from the Dallas Cowboys. David Njoku still at the tight end position there too. And then we know about the two beasts in the backfield. And then up front, Wyatt Teller, who I think is one of the nastiest offensive linemen in the league. Jack Conklin, an all-pro at the right tackle position as well. So I hear your argument, Ike. But at number 3, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson because the former league MVP at 25 years old is in a contract season. He's going to ball out, and he's going to want a similar deal as what Josh Allen got from the Buffalo Bills. What am I talking about? $43 million on average per season through the 2028 season. That is what Jackson is going to try to get. Now, do I think he's going to get as high a figure as Josh Allen? No, probably not. But I think he's going to try to get something in the same ballpark. He's going to want to come back with a vengeance and prove that when the Ravens lost their final 6 games of the 2021 season, part of the reason was due to injuries, not just to Jackson, but his other players. Jackson missed the final 4 of those games, so he wasn't healthy, and you're getting back a solid running game. J.K. Dobbins is going to be back. Gus Edwards is going to be back. The guy on the offensive line, Ronnie Stanley, the offensive tackle. You've got the cornerbacks coming back from season-ending injuries. The Ravens are my pick in the AFC North to win the division in the 2022 season, Ike. So you take Jackson at 3. I would have taken him at 2, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm taking Jackson at 3. And the reason why I'm taking Jackson at 3, I've seen everything I needed to see about Lamar Jackson. Now, when it comes down to being a Madden player, I'm going to play with the Baltimore Ravens all day on John Madden. When it comes down to the skill set, when it comes down to these sports show highlights, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson all day. But by the end of the day, man, we all know the Baltimore Ravens ain't the Baltimore Ravens right now unless you have Lamar Jackson on the field. The problem is he got to get over that playoff hump. So to see with a depleted Cincinnati Bengals line and see what Joe Burrow does with his receivers and see him get to the Super Bowl, that's why I got him at 3, because he came behind Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson already had a year in front of him. So Lamar's problem or issue, 1, Lamar has to stay healthy. 1, he got to stay healthy. 2, he got to translate his game. So he has to think more pass on the run, then I'll look to pass. And this year, time will tell.
I want to give our listeners and viewers one bit of advice. Draft Rashad Bateman in fantasy football. He's a cold weather receiver out of Minnesota. And then, yes, Jackson still have Mark Andrews, but remember, Hollywood Brown's no longer in town. He got traded away. So Jackson's going to have to throw the ball to somebody. I like Rashad Bateman in fantasy football this season, but I just think that contract season, he's going to want to get the bag and prove, hey, here's why I'm the former league MVP, and this is why you got to fork over the big bucks to pay me to continue to play quarterback in Baltimore, because if not the Ravens, someone else is going to offer him that money, Ike.
Statistically, Mark, he's gonna get him. He's going to do him. But we talking about as a whole, as a team, can Lamar get over that playoff hump when it comes down to these teams in the playoffs are not letting you run the ball. You have to sit in the pocket and throw the ball. But stats-wise, regular season, he going to go for 2,800 passing. He might go for 1,000, 1,200 rushing. So he going to get that just off of GP. It's just the playoff Lamar Jackson that we need to see.
Yes, 30-8 as a starter in the regular season. And in the regular season, a 69-18 touchdown to interception ratio. 1-3 in the playoffs, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, Ike. So you're not wrong when it comes to Jackson's playoff performance at the quarterback position. Ike, at 4, it's really a choose between which Steelers quarterback you want. If you want to take them both, I'll let you. But at number 4, the pick is yours.
So I'm going to go with Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay.
I don't think there's a rush for Pickett right now to come in and be the savior. I'm going to say Mitchell is athletic. He's just as athletic. He has been around the game for a while. His coaching staff is about to be an all-star coaching staff. His defense is about to be better than he had, other than the first year with Khalil Mack and company with the Chicago Bears. His offensive line, the Pittsburgh Steelers did a lot with the offensive line this year. Oh, by the way, I got a trio. I think Pittsburgh quietly might have the best wide receiver trio so far. Time will tell. You want to talk about the running back? He got a running back in NAJEE, who's going to get better this year, who's going to do better this year. So yeah, I'm not really too sold on Pickett playing early this year. I'm gonna give Mitchell Trubisky a chance and see what he does with his luxury.
Yes, every skill position player on the Steelers is like 25 and younger. Deontay Johnson, the elder statesman at 25 years old in a contract season. And I want to see what Deontay can do with the new quarterback. We saw he was a Pro Bowler in Big Ben's final season in 2021. But Pickett is 23. Harris is 24. Pat Freiermuth is 23. Excited to see what he does in year 2. Chase Claypool entering year 3 is 23. George Pickens, the rookie out of Georgia, 21 years old. So this offensive line, Ike, which was very young last season and developing, I would expect them to be better with a younger, more mobile quarterback behind center versus the statue that was Big Ben in the final years of his career. Not to take away from the Hall of Famer, the future Hall of Famer, but Father Time catches everyone. So I'm excited to see what this offense does because it is a young offense. Like, it's young, there's fresh blood, and they're also going to be a lot faster than they've been the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's going to be a young, vibrant offense. I'm sure the offensive line won't say this, but, man, we got somebody who can get us out of trouble sometime. I'm sure that's what they're going to be saying in the back of their head, you know, and Mitchell Trubisky or Pickett. But I'm going to go with Mitchell Trubisky first.
Okay, Ike, we're going to move to the running back position. Again, top 4 in the AFC North. I'm going to give you the very first pick because I took it for the quarterback. So the floor is yours. You can have any running back in the AFC North. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Lil Swole. And Lil Swole, who I call Lil Swole, is Nick Chubbs. Nick Chubbs, to me, is one of the best top 5 running backs in the NFL. He just so happened to be in the AFC North. So we all saw what a Nick Chubbs can do, 1, at Georgia, 2, what he has been doing for the Cleveland Browns with an okay offensive line. Now you give him an upgraded offensive line and you give him Deshaun Watson where you really can't sit 7 or 8 in the box. Nick Chubb's going to run, and he's still going to be running. He's going to run into space. That's exactly what he's going to do if everybody stay healthy on the offensive side. But Nick Chubb just do it all. He's a power runner. He's a one-cut runner. He can come out the backfield. He can catch passes. You give him more than 25 carries, he can carry the load. By the way, they had Kareem Hunt on the other side. We saw what he was like in KC. By the way, we saw what Kareem Hunt did as well when he was the backup when Nick Chubb got hurt in the Cleveland season. But I'm a Nick Chubb this thing. I think Nick Chubb is just the total package in the AFC North.
Yeah, squatting 675 pounds this offseason, Ike, and making it look easy. Like, oh, my Lord.
That boy squatting 2 offensive linemen.
It's like, oh, yeah, can you squat this? Yeah, throw another plate on there. I can handle that. Oh, my Lord. Size and speed and running behind Wyatt Teller and Jack Conklin. Like, listen, I'll say this to any of our listeners and viewers. I know that we, as a Steelers show, should hate Wyatt Teller. Go Google and watch some of his clips of how physical and nasty he is at the line of scrimmage. And Chubb gets to run behind those two game after game after game after game. And there's no reason why. There's a reason why Cleveland is very effective at running the football and controlling time of possession. It was a large reason why 2 seasons ago they made the playoffs for the first time in nearly 2 decades as well.
Yeah, I got Nick Chubb's number 1 for me in the AFC North.
No question. I'm with you there. Ike at number 2. I know our fans aren't going to want to hear this, and they're going to say, pick Najee Harris. I got Joe Mixon here. 25 years old. I don't think he got nearly the credit he deserved for the run to the Super Bowl. A do-it-all running back as well, both running the football in the backfield, making catches. He's just reliable. He's a Pro Bowl player. Remember, Najee Harris was the replacement player. I can't help but think of, okay, what would Najee do in Cincinnati's system if you were to role reverse them? But I like Joe Mixon a lot, and I don't think he's nearly talked about nearly enough in this league. And he is going to continue to reap the benefit of the attention that the star receivers that the Bengals, the attention that the receivers draw. I've got Joe Mixon at number 2. I could easily see this flipping with him and Najee Harris by season's end. But for the time being, 3 of the last 4 seasons, you're giving me like 1,200 yards or better rushing on the ground. Give me Joe Mixon at number 2. It's not going to be popular amongst our listeners and viewers, but that's who I got, and that's what I see.
Yo, I'm going to take Najee. And it's A-B. It's an A+ with Joe Mixon. You can go A+, A- with Najee. So I really can't say you're wrong on this remark. I'm not going to disagree too much. The reason why I'm going to go with Najee is who's my quarterback. So now you have a mobile quarterback in Joe Burrow. Okay, who is my receiver? You had the all-world Jamar Chase as receiver. It took a wide receiver room for the Pittsburgh Steelers to do what Jamar Chase did last year as a whole. So that opens up a lot. Okay, tight ends. You can wash the tight ends. Pittsburgh have a good tight end in Fairmont, and the Cincinnati Bengals has a good tight end as well. Okay, let's go offensive line. The offensive line, I would say you would cut it even. The offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals last year and the Pittsburgh Steelers last year wasn't the top, 15, top 10 offensive line in the NFL. So, okay, how was the production of these running backs? Okay, you got a productive Najee Harris who we know the box was going to be full, meaning there was going to be 8 to 9 in the box. Coming out of Cincinnati, Joe Burrow would dare you to load the box because Jamar and T. Higgins would have a field day if you did. So that's why I'm gonna go to slight nudge with Najee because he finished strong at the end of the season, Mark. And this is no disrespect to Mixon. Mixon is a dog. I like Mixon a lot. It's just he had more offensive weapons. The box wasn't loaded as much, and I like the way Najee finished the season off.
I want to see what Najee can do with improved offensive line play. Young up front a year ago, still young, but they at least have some more game experience, which I think is very, very valuable. Only fumbled once all season long that came in the playoff game, and he led the NFL in touches even as a rookie. for him to stay healthy, 381 touches, it's something I want to see the Steelers actually cut down a little bit.
Correct.
We've talked a lot about how we want to see the Robin established to Najee's Batman, but Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, I don't think you could really go wrong either way. One thing, too, I like with Mixon a little bit more, too, is I think he's a little bit faster. Najee's longest run in the 2021 season, 37 yards. But, Ike, I think that goes back to your point of teams loading up the box, 7-8 defenders in the box. It's hard to find the crease, find the hole, and take one the distance when teams are keying on you, as they consistently were with Najee Harris last season. Okay, at number 4, Ike, I will go here. I'm going to take Kareem Hunt, even though he's the backup in Cleveland, because he carries the load when Nick Chubb gets injured, which doesn't happen often, but he's capable of doing that. He runs violently. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield, too, which I like how Kevin Stefanski and company in Cleveland use Kareem Hunt. I want to give an honorable mention to J.K. Dobbins, who I also think will be a good grab in fantasy football, but I'm going to go with Hunt here, just considering Dobbins is coming off that season-ending injury a year ago. Is he going to be compromised? It's going to take him a little bit of time to return to form. So give me Kareem Hunt at number 4. What do you think about my pick, Ike?
I think it's an excellent pick, Mark. I think Kareem Hunt, if he was a starter, he'll probably be number 1 in the AFC North. That's just what he was.
Wow.
Kareem Hunt, we saw him come out the backfield at KC. We see him come out the backfield in Cleveland. Like, you want to talk about a total package who's not starting. That's Kareem Hunt. The reason why Cleveland feels so comfortable and wind up giving him extension and a new contract was because of that. Now, they got Kareem Hunt off the incidents he did in the past, and, man, the return has came +3. So that's why I wouldn't disagree with you at number 4, Kareem Hunt. If Kareem Hunt was a starter, Kareem Hunt would be number 1 on my list for the AFC North.
I can't even imagine what it's like for an opposing defense where it's like, oh, hey, the backup's coming in. And usually you're going to be like licking your chops where it's like, oh, this is going to be so much easier than having to tackle Nick Chubb. And no. You've got Kareem Hunt, another alpha that you have to try to tackle. So good luck to opposing defenses. Like, I can't even imagine what that's like for an opposing defense.
Cleveland got 2 starters at running back, 2 legit all-pro starters at running back.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go to the receiver position, Ike. At number 1, this is going to be no surprise here. Give me Ja'Marr Chase in the encore performance that we expect in year 2. Already one of the league's best receivers as a rookie. Would have been in the Pro Bowl if the Bengals hadn't made the Super Bowl. He can do it all. So I got Ja'Marr Chase at number 1. I really don't even think that there's going to be much debate here at the top of the receiver position in the division.
Mr. All-War receiver, you could arguably say he's the best receiver in the league. If you're going to put somebody over Ja'Marr Chase, who you going to say? And tell me why. He got the speed. He got the ball location. He got the height. He got the elusiveness. He got the clutch. And you need to look for him wherever he's at on the field. So when you got a guy who's getting double, when you got a guy in certain situations who's getting triple, when you go into the game and you done prepared yourself throughout the week, and the defensive coordinator say, we got to know what Chase is at all times, and he still catch for 150, 200, 205, 150, 120. That's a different kind of breed. So I don't look at Ja'Marr Chase as a all-pro. I don't look at him as a pro bowler. I call Ja'Marr Chase all-world.
I love that, Ike. And I just remember the conversation we were having a year ago was, should the Bengals have taken Penei Sewell with the 5th overall pick of the 2021 draft? This is no knock on Penei Sewell, but it's just funny how much the conversation has changed given what Chase did as a rookie. And then there was the storyline of, oh, he's having problems catching the ball in training camp and preseason last year. And he put those worries to bed almost immediately. And again, like I said, I cannot wait to see what he does for the non-core performance. Like, it's like when you're at a concert, you're cheering on your favorite musician, and you know he's going to deliver after a brief intermission, after a brief break. I'm very excited to see what Chase does this upcoming season in year 2. Him and Joe Burrow, the college connection, LSU. I hate to admit it, but it's entertaining as hell to watch.
No, Ja'Marr Chase should get a shirt on the back of his shirt. It should say, "Why are you still chasing me?"
Okay, so print those T-shirts, Ike, and then we'll also print the Kenny and Company T-shirts, and we'll get some merch here for the Bleav in Steelers show.
Okay.
All right, number 2, it's your pick, Ike, the second best receiver in the AFC North division. The pick is
I'm going to go with Diontae Johnson.
Let's go. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm gonna rock with Diontae Johnson. He came back from 2 years ago of having the most drops in the league. Little do people know Davante Adams wasn't Davante Adams before Davante Adams. He led the league in drops early on in his career. Mm-hmm. So what Diontae Johnson do? He come in the offseason, he get his hands right, he's more focused, and you saw when he wasn't in the game how the offense looked. The offense looked okay. When Diontae Johnson was in the game, the offense looked more electric. So Diontae Johnson, to me, man, he ain't going to do nothing but just keep getting better the more he gets into the league. He ain't even touched his prime yet. So I'm going to go with Diontae Johnson. He's my number 2 receiver right now in the AFC North.
And I think he's going to look at the deals that Tyreek Hill got, Davante Adams got, A.J. Brown got, and said, I'm a Pro Bowl receiver too. If he can replicate what he did last season in 2022, you're talking about a really big payday that he is going to be due. And the Steelers are going to have to decide, do we want to pay Diontae Johnson or do we want to pay Chase Claypool eventually? I think Pittsburgh's going to have to choose between one of the two if they want to keep both. I like the way that the Steelers draft and develop young receivers, but this is a conversation that we're going to have moving forward. And one other point I need to make as well, Ike, I borrowed your psychic abilities because I think it was your boy who predicted that Diontae Johnson would be a Pro Bowl player in the 2021 season, and that came to fruition. So thank you for lending me your abilities, Ike.
I got you, baby. Anytime I teleport them abilities to you any day. But on a note, when you want to talk about Pittsburgh and drafting wide receivers, they're not going to be really tripping too much on the money part when it comes to Diontae Johnson, because here's why. You got Chase, he's young. You got George Pickens, who we know who's about to be a dog. I'm going to go ahead and call that. And you got Austin III. So they have a trio. They can have a trio regardless when it comes down to this money situation. And one thing I do know about the Pittsburgh Steelers, when it comes down to the receivers, they love their options on either letting you go and coming in and finding somebody else that they got in the draft.
Yeah, and Ike, I think it's going to be interesting if Pittsburgh continues that mantra, considering the premium that the rest of the league has put at the receiver position. But you see what a team like the Chiefs did this past offseason, where they get 5 draft picks for Tyreek Hill. Don't get me wrong. And Davante Adams as well going to the Raiders. Make your money. If you can make $200 million, go and do it. That's not what I'm saying, but it'll be interesting to see if Pittsburgh keeps that mantra, given the franchise's ability, again, to draft and develop young receivers. They're like the best in the league at doing that. So I'm going to give Pittsburgh the benefit of the doubt there, but I hope you know what you're doing, because I really liked what Diontae Johnson did this past season, and I hope he can continue that. And I hope that it's not just all underneath, as it was really the last 2 seasons, but really in 2021, to where you get George Pickens, you get Chase Claypool, you get Austin, to where they can take a top off the defense, and that opens up more of the underneath for Johnson, where I feel like it was sometimes very, very predictable the last 2 seasons, just because the Steelers didn't have the offensive players to be able to take a top off a defense and keep a defense honest. And that's been missing from this offense. And I don't expect that to be corrected right away, given how young the Steelers are offensively. But later in the season, I expect this offense to develop, and Johnson should have more of an opening, even more so than he's had this past 2 seasons, really. And he was still effective. So once it all gels together and they get the timing and the reps down, I'm really, really excited about this offense, Ike, because, again, it is a very, very young offense.
No, it's going to hit from day one. Just because the pit bull mentality of George Pickens, he's very aggressive. And the pit bull mentality of Chase Claypool as well. He's very aggressive. I'm talking about being very aggressive, not receiving the ball. So that strikes a little fear to finesse kind of cornerbacks. So say you got to be a Jalen Ramsey to want to challenge a Chase Claypool or George Pickens every play. That's just what it is. So I don't think it's going to take them any time, regardless on who the quarterback is. They're going to hit the ground running from day one.
All right, Ike, the third best receiver in the division. It's my pick. I'm going to take Amari Cooper with the Browns, a 4-time Pro Bowler with Dallas. I think part of the benefit there is playing for a franchise as prestigious as the Cowboys. But remember, OBJ and Jarvis Landry are no longer in Cleveland. So whether it's Deshaun Watson or whoever ends up being the Browns quarterback to start the 2022 season, remember they signed Jacoby Brissett, but Baker Mayfield's still on that roster as of this recording on Monday night, Ike. Whoever is Cleveland's quarterback, I think Amari Cooper will make that quarterback's life a heck of a lot easier. He's a good route runner. Give me Amari Cooper as the third best receiver in the division.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. I think Cleveland also has a guy named Peoples-Jones as well. Coming out, he showed up and showed out last year as well with Baker Mayfield and some of the OBJ. He was out. Who else? Jarvis he wasn't inconsistent, but Peoples-Jones as well. He kind of broke out of his shell last year too. I'm not going to disagree with Amari Cooper going into Cleveland and Cleveland having some help as well, depending on who the quarterback situation might be. But at number 4, so I'm not going to disagree with that. Okay. At number 4, I'm going to go back to the Cincinnati Bengals and T. Higgins. We saw what T. Higgins did in the playoffs. He had a nice little playoff run, and he had some big games late in the season as well. Some of that was due to the running game, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But still, when it was time to beat them one-on-ones where it needed to play, T. Higgins made plays, and he made them consistently towards the end of the season, also in the playoffs.
Yeah, T. Higgins, East Tennessee's very own. And I remember T. Higgins came across my radar when I was working in Knoxville, Tennessee, and the University of Tennessee was trying to recruit him. And they couldn't. I don't blame him for going to Clemson. So I followed T. Higgins for quite some time now, even before he got to the league when he was still at the prep level. And I think he's going to reap the benefit of the attention that Jamar Chase draws. And don't forget about his teammates either. Honorable mentions, I want to mention at the receiver position too, Ike. Tyler Boyd, who I think is a very good slot receiver.
Right.
And then Chase Claypool and Rashad Bateman as well, I think are in that honorable mention category, to where I could see any one of those players playing at a Pro Bowl level this upcoming season, just depending on how opposing teams play each of them defensively. But T. Higgins was also my pick at number 4 too, Ike, because you get that size and speed with him. And then again, he's going to reap the benefit of Jamar Chase being the Batman there. So I kind of liken it to a few years ago what Juju Smith-Schuster did with all the attention that AB generated in Pittsburgh. That's kind of the analogy I would make there for what T. Higgins has in Cincinnati.
Yeah, T. Higgins got it good. I'm not going to take nothing away from T. Higgins. I thought T. Higgins was a dog coming out of Clemson as well. It's just that you put an all-world receiver on the other side of you. Now I'm really about to eat on these one-on-ones. So that's another trio as well. So you got, I think, between Pittsburgh / the Cincinnati Bengals, when you want to talk about the best trios in the NFL, I think them two, you can go A1, AB with the trios when it comes down to the wide receiver, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I also like, for the record, the New Orleans Saints, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Jarvis Landry. I'm going to throw that out there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then really whoever the third is. I really like those two receivers. With Godwin, I think he needs to stay healthy. He struggles with that a little bit, but just want to make mention of those other receiving trios. Like, otherwise, we're going to endure the wrath in the comments. And you know what I say to our listeners and viewers? Bring it. Okay, so on the next few weeks, we're going to go top 4 position groups. So we'll have tight end, offensive line, and defensive line on our next episode. Ike, we're recording weekly now that the draft is over. So barring major breaking news, that's what we will have next week. Before we wrap today's show, Jadeveon Clowney has re-signed with the Cleveland Browns. He's going to be back for another year. You pair him with Myles Garrett. And Myles Garrett, Ike, is the Batman to Clowney's Robin. I do like this pairing. They bring Clowney back on an $11 million deal. I think it's a good signing. Hopefully he can replicate what he did a season ago. I think that's the thought process there. But I want to put to bed the notion that Jadeveon Clowney is going to be this Reggie White-esque edge rusher. I think Clowney's a very good player, but the hype coming out of him absolutely knocking the lights out of the Michigan running back at the Outback Bowl all those years ago, like, that's not who you're getting in Jadeveon Clowney. You're getting a very good player, maybe like a borderline Pro Bowl player, but to expect him to be the next great edge rusher, let's put that to bed once and for all.
Yeah, he's always been a good Robin. I mean, you can just look at, he had a J.J. Watt on the other side of him as well. Just because our expectations don't mean you're going to be exactly who they think you're going to be. But I think now Jadeveon Clowney had came to terms into thinking like, this is really who I am. I like this team. I like Cleveland. I like what they did in the offseason. Me and Myles Garrett can eat on both edges. So, yeah, he's a great Robin. Asking him to be a Batman, I think he done had his days on being Batman. I think he done had his days on having the opportunity to be a Batman. So, no, he's a great Robin. J.J. Watt was the Batman to Jadeveon Clowney. Now Myles Garrett is the Batman towards Jadeveon Clowney. So I think he found his role. So Cleveland for him right now, to me, in my mind, is a good fit.
Yeah, Jadeveon Clowney, when he was the Batman in Houston, was like a George Clooney Batman, Ike.
I get it.
Shout out to Adam West and shout out to Christian Bale, the two GOATs of Batman. I'll say this about Clowney, too. He turned down $14, $15 million offers from other teams. So to come back to Cleveland on a less expensive deal, and then you get to play alongside and reap the benefit of the pressure that Myles Garrett and the attention that Myles Garrett generates.
Art, he was like, man, so y'all want me to just try to get all the sacks and get double team every time? Hell no, I'm about to go back to Cleveland for $4 million less. I already got my money. I'm going to go out and beat these 101s and get my stats up.
Yeah, Ike, I think in the next episode when we talk about top tight ends, offensive line, and defensive line, I might need your top Batman rankings as well in terms of your favorite Batman actors. So maybe we can do that on next episode.
Gotcha.
All right, Ike, this has been a full show. Again, we're into the off season now, so we're going to be on a weekly basis here on the Bleav in Steelers show, barring major breaking news. We've got you covered for whenever the Steelers name a new general manager, so keep it locked here on Bleav in Steelers. But, Ike, I got to give you a shout-out. I want to thank the folks over at the Bleav Network and our producers over at Brinks TV, led by John Brinkus, Courtney Vargas, Herbert Diaz, and the Brinks TV crew. Also, today's sponsor, betonline.ag. And I want to thank you, the listeners and the viewers of the Bleav in Steelers show. Thank you for tuning in and making us a part of your day.
I second everything Mark Bergin just said. Make sure y'all subscribe and give us a 5-piece, meaning a 5-star, because all we do is entertain and educate.
For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thank you for watching the Bleav in Steelers show. We will see you next week. Until then, take care and so long, everybody.
Peace.